afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alyssa Corman, Ken Shreve here. We're going to break down the action today where we saw small caps really taking the lead, Ken, and we're going to take a look underneath the surface at a couple of stocks that had some interesting moves today. And you're on mute.
Take a look at Toll Brothers, which reported strong earnings today, getting good support at the 50-day line. Also like the price action in Pool Corporation, ticker POOL. And finally, Ford had an interesting investor presentation today. A lot of good news came out of that, and the stock responded accordingly.
Perfect. Well, let's take a look at the major indexes here, kicking things off with the Russell 2000. So small caps really leading the charge today, up about 1.9%, Ken. We also had the S&P 500 up just 0.2% for the day. The Nasdaq up 0.6%, and the Dow just slightly positive. So really good to see small caps participating in a big way today and getting back above the 50-day line, which is something we've been waiting for.
Yeah, we've sort of been waiting for the small cap index to kind of regain its mojo. It was kind of a nasty reversal yesterday below the 50-day line, but nice retaking of the line yesterday. It doesn't look like there was a ton of volume behind the move, but what else is new? You know, it's but it is back above it is back above the 50-day moving average. So that's good to see. And the Nasdaq continued to move higher above its 50-day moving average as well. Closed near its session high. And that's looking better the further it gets away from its 50-day moving average.
Exactly. So it seems like if we can continue in this fashion, getting the Nasdaq and the Russell back above and staying above the 50-day lines, we have the S&P 500 as well, which we'll take a look at, and Dow looking healthy here. So this is encouraging action thus far this week.
Yeah, I think really the entirety of this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we've seen the action in individual growth stocks improve quite a bit. So in that vein, things are looking pretty good. So I think overall the market technicals look okay. We've been talking about a downtrending advanced decline line for the Nasdaq composite, but the advanced decline line for the S&P 500 or for NYSE stocks looks a little better. So it's a little bit of a split market that we've been talking about. But the Nasdaq does seem to be getting its mojo back, and most importantly, the action in leading growth stocks has started to improve quite a bit.
Well, let's see if it can keep the mojo. And first on our list in terms of stocks that we want to take a look at is Toll Brothers. Ken, you mentioned the earnings report, shares up 3.8% on the news today.
Yeah, one of just seems like every earnings report that I'm covering, we're seeing just acceleration in sales growth, and that's the same with Toll Brothers here. At least 3 quarters in a row of accelerating top line growth. Earnings were up 71%. It's got great annual earnings estimates here. This is a good example of support at the 50-day line with conviction. Now, some might argue maybe this is the second or third test, but if you swing over to the weekly chart, this still looks like it's actionable to me off the 10-week line. The breakout did not happen that long ago. I'd really look at this almost as like the second test of the 10-week moving average. So it doesn't look overly extended to me. And on the heels of a really strong earnings report, I think the stock looks quite good here. A lot of home builders are looking pretty good in this low interest rate environment. The 10-year Treasury yield has backed off this week. It was up a little bit today, but still below the 1.60% level. So this low interest rate environment should be good for home builders for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, home builders ranked in the group 27 out of 197 groups that we track. And Pool, another bright spot today, ticker POOL, which has been a long-term leader, and you can tell why on this weekly chart here, Ken. So we'll take a closer look at the daily chart, and this retail leisure products group we're seeing a lot of strength out of, and Pool has yet to really move this week in a big way, but it looks like it's trading nice and tight.
A lot of these stocks in this group that benefited from the pandemic and saw an increase in business as people, stayed at home. A lot of these stocks are still acting well. The critics will say, well, all the good news is priced in here when people go back to work, and the pandemic is in the rearview mirror. How are these companies going to sustain their growth? And that's a legitimate question. But the fact that a lot of these stocks are acting so well, the fact that Pool gapped up on strong earnings and rallied all the way up to 450, and it's just been such a gentle, quiet pullback for the stock, basically down to its 21-day moving average. It's holding gains tightly. This stock is still showing strength and support. And when you get price action like this, it can often present additional entry points. So still watching this one. I don't own it personally, but like the technical action, and we'll see if we can get another entry point here down the line.
Yes, checks off a lot of the qualities that we really like to see in a stock, both fundamentally and technically. So we'll have to see if it can move higher from here.
Let me just go to the weekly
yeah,
chart.
we will go to the
Yeah,
weekly.
just the weekly chart, because I think this is one of the few examples. Yeah, when you look at the recent earnings and sales growth down in that bottom left, this is there aren't too many companies that show 5 quarters in a row of accelerating growth, but you have that with Pool. So that is particularly impressive. We like to see the big earnings and sales, and if growth is accelerating, that's sort of a cherry on the sundae. But here you have 5 quarters in a row where growth on the bottom line and top line has picked up the pace. So this is a very impressive company, and like I said, still looks very, very strong technically.
Impressive indeed. Also, seeing a strong move this week after a big week last week is Ford recently announcing, or unveiling rather, its F-150 Lightning EV truck, and then its investor day today, announcing that it's really going all in, it seems like, Ken, on EVs, boosting their investments in electric vehicles in a big way. So after announcing the Lightning, we saw a really nice move from Ford, retaking the 50-day line. A brief pause here, not long enough for a handle, but shares continuing higher today.
Yeah, it was a little 2-day pullback, and I know that you and Ed Carson, our news editor, talked about this stock on Friday, I believe, when shares surged on the Ford F-150 Lightning launch, and a lot of buzz about what a quality automobile that is. But today they had an investor presentation, and they're really going all in with electric vehicles here. They've said a lot of highlights. They plan to raise their EV spending plans up to $30 billion by the year 2025. That's up sharply from an initial forecast of $22 billion. They think they can cut their battery cost by 40% by 2025, and just a whole lot of headlines. They expect their total vehicle fleet to be all electric by 2030, I think it was. So this is just a classic breakout from a base today. It broke out over that left side high of 1362. Despite a pretty strong move for the stock over the past couple of weeks, we would still look at this as still in the 5% buy zone from that 1362 pivot. So still looks good here. If you've been wanting to own Ford, you can start with a small position here, and looking pretty good with a healthy relative strength line. So I think the stock looks perfectly fine here.
Yeah, and action worthy of being added to leaderboard.
That's
so
right.
that also is something to note here with Ford. So we'll keep an eye on this one. It seems like move over Tesla. Those high flying EV stocks of last year not performing as well this year. It's automakers like Ford that are really taking center stage in 2021.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, last year we were talking about NIO and Li Auto when they were showing relative strength, and now they've come in pretty far off their highs, and people will look at a stock like NIO and say, well, it was a $60 stock, now it's trading at 37. I can get it on sale here, but there's a lot of damage done to this stock by massive selling pressure, and that's sometimes it can be a long road back to recover for
Exactly.
a stock like NIO. Yeah.
Yep, we want that momentum in our favor, and seeing that in spades with Ford. Well, that is it for today, everyone. Thanks, Ken, for your insights, and thank you all for watching. We're going to continue the conversation tomorrow on IBD Live, our daily morning live stream, where our experts are sharing their screens, talking about actionable trade ideas. We have Eve Bobach, who is a portfolio manager and co-author of The Life Cycle Trade, joining us on the show. And also want to give a shout out to Ken, because he is this week's special podcast guest. We're actually about to go record that soon, Ken, and the episode
Jeez.
drops tomorrow.
What a surprise. I didn't even know. I'll be ready.
Oh, you are such a joker. All right, Ken. Well, we're going to go do that. Thank you all for watching, everyone, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.